Good morning. My name is Simon Marcotte, CEO of Northern Superior. Northern Superior has been consolidating and rapidly advancing several projects in the Chibougamau gold camp, which we see and are convinced is the next big gold camp to be built. IAMGOLD will clearly be the driving force. Not only we've been executing on our consolidation strategy, but we've been having a lot of success with the drill bit, where we drill things quite aggressively. Thanks for tuning in.
Simon, good to see you. Saw the press release, wanted to reach out and sort of talk to you about that. As you say, IAMGOLD is the future of this company potentially. What does today's results tell us and them?
Well, IAMGOLD will definitely be the driving force of this camp. Just like the Chinese were the driving force of the camp in Guyana, just like Agnico has been the driving force of the camp in Finland. So we're doing the right thing, finding the right stuff at the right place at the right time. Today's press release, quite exciting stuff, right? I wish I could take credit for it, but the gold was there before we found it, and our team, Adrien Lazare, Melanie Pichon, and other members that we have of the geological team have been doing a great work. So today's press release, let's just start with the headline. We announced 11.9 gram a ton over 9 meters, which includes a short intercept of 101 gram a ton. And we also, just in a headline, have 65 meters of 1.75 gram a ton, which includes 3.9 gram a ton over 17.4 meter. But there's a lot more than the headline into this press release. So if you let me kind of give a bit of color on this press release, and anyone can obviously take a look at the press release directly. So there's the way I look at it, there's two batches, two kinds of results into this press release. Number one, if you look at holes start at 489, so 489, 490, 492, 494. So those holes, this is filling up a gap where there was missing data. So right there, we add value by taking rock that we considered waste, and now we are proving that this rock is mineralized. So clearly we're adding ounces. But not only that, but it looks like we're adding ounces at higher grade than we currently have at the very least for this area. And also, interestingly, is to look at where it is. And you can see in the press release, there's a cross-section of those holes, or long section, I should say. And you'll see that the pit at some point really kind of comes up, right? So the way I like to visualize it is, if you would fill up the pit with water, then we almost kind of had an island coming up in the middle. So this is the area, this batch of results that explains that all of this is actually mineralized. So it's easy to visualize how economic those results are. And today's results, that batch, the holes are actually quite close to one another, right? So very high likelihood that they would allow us to really formalize ounces with those holes. And that same group of results, hole 490, is actually to the edge of the pit, to the north. So potentially allows us to widen the pit to the north once again, right? We've been quite successful at widening the pit. So the wider we can go, then the deeper we can go. And the deeper we go, the more we can include higher grade material in the pit. And obviously it's much more economic to have high grade stuff in the pit as opposed to on the ground. So we've been having a lot of success from that perspective. So that's the first type of holes that we released this morning. Then the second type of holes that we released this morning, so take a look at hole 504, 505, and I think we're zeroing in here on what will be eventually the starter pit of Philibert. Because if you look at hole 504, first it starts, it's very shallow, right? So 504, the hole starts at 7 meters only. and you have 1.8 gram over 18 meters there, and lower in that hole you have 1.75 gram over 65 meters, and you also have hole 505 starting at 9 meters for 33 meters of almost 1.3 gram a ton. So those two holes, they clearly drilled in parallel to the structure. But as you know, you need to do those things. It gives you a lot of information for the modeling, the metallurgy. Also helps define the economics. So very good set of data that you get with those holes as well. It shows that it's not very nuggety, at least that part of the deposit clearly. Looking at those two holes, clearly that indicates a very, very low strip for this area. Starting this shallow clearly indicates a very thin overburden, right? So to have much less overburden or very small overburden, obviously that's less capex at first to remove that before you can get to the mineralization. And not only is less capex, but you get to the mineralization faster, which means a shorter payback period. And I always point out the payback period is probably the most important variable when you look at a gold project. It's often a variable that will make or break the project, will get it funded or not, right? So we've been very lucky with the drill bit. Very exciting stuff we announced this morning.
Okay, look, I appreciate that. But I want to talk to you, and people can go look at the drill size, and I guess, write in, email you directly if they want to know more about it. But the process that you've been through to set yourself up for success is initially built on this consolidation in Chibougamau. You're trying to build up to multi-million ounce deposits like Detour, in Guyana and Finland, as you mentioned. You've done a lot of drilling so far. The recoveries on the network seem to be quite strong, and you prove this maybe underground potential below the pit as well. But there's a bunch of stuff that you still need to do to kind of make yourself attractive to IAMGOLD. And if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of go through your thinking and your logic on some of those things. I mean, starting with consolidation, you put out a press release a couple of weeks ago now, I think. You're still picking up more land at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I will say there's still a lot that we can do to become prettier. I don't think that there's a lot more that we need to do to be pretty. We already have achieved quite a bit, but to your point, there's still a lot of low-hanging fruit for us to go grab in that camp, both through acquisitions, as you just mentioned, that's what I'm referring to, and also through the drill bit where we can expand the other projects that we have, right? So, if any of your listeners are new to the story, to your point, we saw an opportunity here to consolidate the camp of Chibougamau. So not only are we convinced that Chibougamau is the next big camp to be built, but it's a perfect geology for a hub and spoke operation, right? To have all of these different pits feeding the same mill. So rarely do you have an opportunity geologically to see that. But you also have the opportunity that the camp being available, because any other camps of this size, to my knowledge, is already, if not outright owned by a super major, at least controlled by a super major. So if you go back just 3 years ago, all of these ounces, these potential pits, were owned by a total of 5 different companies. And fast forward to today, all of this is owned by either us or IAMGOLD, and at the right time, because IAMGOLD now really has a lot of momentum. Their Ontario operation is doing phenomenal now, and everything indicates that, and it's been said, that it is their next place of growth will be Chibougamau. So we have acquired the Philibert deposit, the Chevrier deposit, Crux, and Lac Surprise. And now we have acquired, and we announced that just recently, a couple of weeks ago, we acquired Hazard, Monster Lake East, and Monster Lake West. So first, Hazard. What is Hazard? So Hazard, simply put, is the western extension of Philibert, which is our main deposit. And actually the first gold showings historically started there, right? And then the exploration grew towards Philibert and became Philibert. But if you look at our project, Philibert, you look at the 3D modeling and any other piece of data, you'll see that the deposit goes right into Hazard, right? It grows right into it. So it was a question of time for us to secure the right transaction there. And as far as what we paid for it, the way I look at it is we paid for Hazard pretty much the value of the gold that we know is already there. What I mean by this is we've explored already. We have data to the west of Philibert, but as you know, when you do a resource calculation, it needs to be pit constrained, and you need to start the pit on your own claims, right? So we know that we left some gold on the side here because of where we needed to start the pit. So pretty much, the way I look at it, we paid for Hazard the same value as I think we think we already have right there. So we can include that gold now. But then it gives us a lot of expansion to explore, a lot of room to explore. This acquisition now gives us 15 kilometers on a Gretchenville fault on which Philibert is all coming out of, right? So it gives us a lot of expansion potential. So that's for Hazard. I think it was the right transaction at the right time at the right price. But then also came almost for free, the way I look at it. We also acquired Monster Lake East and Monster Lake West. Obviously, stating the obvious, it's on either side of Monster Lake that is owned by IAMGOLD. And Monster Lake is a high-grade mineralization at depth. It's an underground ore body at depth. And, I was listening to the last conference call of IAMGOLD, and the CEO, Mr. Adams, did talk about the camp, the way he looks at it. And, he looks at it as a camp, he said. He said it's not only Nelligan, it's really a camp. And he mentioned the importance of those high-grade mineralization, of those high-grade zones. So, we have now room to explore on either side of Monster Lake. But I'll also point out, and you mentioned that into your opening remarks, that we did find just recently, a few weeks ago, we did announce the discovery of a high-grade zone right underneath our pit at Philibert. So if there's anywhere you want to find a high-grade zone at depth, it is underneath the pit, right? Because instead of having to sink a shaft to go access this mineralization, you go access the mineralization by first mining the open pit. So you make money going down to this high-grade stuff at depth, right? So our stock did react well when we announced that. So that's all the sort of things that makes the camp so much better.
And what are you going to do in terms of chasing that high-grade mineralization at depth, and I guess expand laterally as well?
Correct.
Any plans?
Yeah. So there's more drilling. So we're currently designing our next campaign. We'll keep the market updated on that. Because right now we're looking at the modeling, all the data that we have heading towards our next resource calculation. Obviously, the question is, will we want to include Hazard, include this underground mineralization as well? Question is, do we have sufficient data to include all of this into a resource? So rest assured, more drilling to come and more resource update to come, and that's only for Philibert. But in the months ahead, we also need now to attack Chevrier, Crux, which are two huge systems. And I'm convinced there's still a lot of growth potential, a lot of blue sky on those deposits as well. So when I look at our valuation right now, we remain dirt cheap based on the ounces that we have formalized. And all of the ounces that we have yet to find are valued at zero. So still a lot of low-hanging fruit. And it's the right time to evolve a company like this, right? Because the market now reacts, right? I mean, we are not even close to the type of market where things go crazy. The retail investors, generally speaking, still don't care about the sector. They will very soon. But good news, you do get reaction. You do get reaction to drilling. So So when you spend money and you find ounces, you can get your stock higher, and then you limit less, you dilute less in order to find the next ounces. So that's why these cycles are so rewarding for companies like us.
And does it matter how these ounces are built up? You talk about a hub and spoke model, and good drill results work, but in terms of like putting a camp together, in the way like a major like IAMGOLD might put together a mine, it might be different from the way that you might think about putting a mine together. So how do you know where to drill and what's going to give you the optimum response, not just from the market, but maybe from an acquisitor?
Yeah, to go after things that lower the payback period for the whole camp makes the case for further consolidation so much stronger, right? So to add ounces where we know the metallurgy reacts well, simple metallurgy where you get more gold per ton that you mine and process, right? So to keep adding ounces where the metallurgy is good is very important. To keep adding ounces at higher grade, not necessarily the high grade depth, that's a different point, but to continue to build ounces where you can go after and build ounces that can be mined in the first 5 years of an operation are absolutely paramount, right? Because that will have a huge impact to lower the payback period of an operation. And also to find ounces that are shallow. Again, a very low overburden is very important when you look at starting an operation. All of these things, better met, higher grade for the open pit side, and shallow ounces where you have low overburden, that stuff will lower the payback period when you're going to be looking at putting out the feasibility. You want to put your best foot forward first and have a high IR. And then, obviously, you need to modelize all this with the high grade stuff that tends to be more depth. This is what Kinross has with the Fort Knox mine complex in Alaska, for example. But if you do listen to IAMGOLD's last conference call, you will see that they kind of look at the camp the same way we do. They said so. They don't look at Nelligan as a single mine. They look at it as a camp with multiple sources, and they also see an importance of the different source of material, the high grade, the typical Canadian grade open pit bulk tonnage operation with the higher grade at depth, and combining all of this really makes this camp extremely exciting.
Okay, now so explain to me, and we have talked about it before, but I just wanted to say it again today. Small companies waiting around for big companies to move at their pace doesn't always happen. So, and I know you said to me, we're not waiting around, we're getting after this thing, we're building ounces. But ultimately, what's the kind of defense if I am wait too long? Can you build something here which might be attractive to someone else or another JV partner to come in with IAMGOLD?
Oh, 100%. So first, now Philibert is now obviously becoming a standalone project, right? Let's be clear, especially in this market. Now we're not only making the resource larger, better grade, and it indicates that we're really we can turn Philibert into something quite exciting on its own. There's no doubt about that. So Philibert is turning itself into a standalone project, which we can continue to advance. And then we have other projects that I'm convinced don't need that much attention to kind of become standalone projects as well. So, there's still a lot of value for us to create by not only finding more ounces, but finding good ounces. So we're advancing, and we continue to, I think, fair to say, advance our strategy pretty aggressively here. But the way this camp would ultimately end up, I do think further M&A, is warranted. Some people are saying that's not a line from me, but we've been the hunter for a while. At some point, we may become the hunted. But there's many ways a camp like this can come together, right? Obviously, Northern Superior can get acquired. That's the simple way of looking at it, and an obvious potential as well. But a joint venture could add value as well. A major, I mean, this is the only camp of this size that has yet to be controlled or owned by a major. So a major could come in and wrap up the whole thing, or they could wrap up us and then do a joint venture. There's so many ways for all of it to come together, but I think there's so much value to create by putting all of it together that you can trust this industry to make it happen at some point.
Right. Now, obviously, the most efficient thing that you could do is like just build up the answers and not have to spend time and money doing economic studies, because majors tend to do all of that work themselves. However, if you need to, you're saying that that's what you would start to do at some point to show the market again that this can stand up on its own 2 feet, and maybe get some competitive attention from other people looking to come in. How do you play it?
You said it better than me.
Okay, happens a lot. Right. So you feel there's kind of some momentum going on here, and you feel that you're sort of still in control of what you want to do at the moment, and you've got the capital to be able to deliver those things. So that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we also raised a bit of money recently. We raised $5 million just a few weeks ago. Frankly, we could have raised 10 times that. It was very good shareholders that came in with us again, but we wanted to limit the dilution at this point, at this stage. So we have the money that we need right now. Stock have been performing well since, and I will also mention this. This was once again a financing done without any warrants attached, right? So the last three financings, we did not have any warrants, even when the space was not easy. So that resulted in today where we don't have any warrant outstanding whatsoever. And that is massive. You don't see that every day for a company our size. And then it makes it that the stock can breathe. The stock can really react well. Warrants always tend to cap the share price appreciation. So I'm very proud of the kind of capital structure that we've put together here.
Well, I think it's better than that. It says to me, one, you're not desperate. Okay. Two, people don't get to play the warrant game, which is all sorts of fun. And three, that there are people on the other side of that exchange which were willing to take this because they think it's actually going to happen. So that's very, very comforting indeed. And so, Simon, I appreciate the update. I know it's just on the face of it, it was just a sort of update on the drilling results, but it's more about what you're building and the momentum behind that. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Always good to see you.